Troy Jacobs was born in Tacoma, Washington. He is a 2007 graduate of Texas State University, San Marcos, receiving a BA in Communication Studies. John completed his Master's of Science in Leadership with a specialization in Higher Education Administration and is currently completing his doctoral studies at Dallas Baptist University. He currently serves as the Director for Student Success in the Office of Student Development. John is the husband of the lovely Nicole Jacobs, and together they have a 3-year-old son named Jaden Jacobs. Please welcome Mr. John Jacobs.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of the Compel Summit. I'm so glad to be on here live. Just pumped and excited to be joining the Compel Summit and be the first session of day 2. So welcome back for all the people who registered. Welcome for those who are just joining us today. Welcome to my friends on Facebook. Welcome to my friends on Twitter and my friends on Instagram. So glad to see everyone. Welcome to day 2 of the summit. I want to
John
give shout
Troy
out
Jacobs
to
was born
my
in
big
Tacoma,
brother, my
Washington.
womb mate, James Jacobs, who is the founder and a visionary of the Compel Summit with all his team over there. Really excited. If you know me and my brother, we've been doing conferences since we were 11 years old back in Washington State. So this is just something in us to do. We are kingdom-minded, kingdom people, and we get it from our father, Pastor James Jacobs, who's in Kyle, Texas, Beer, Texas, at the Word of Life Christian Faith Center. So it's in us to really impact the kingdom of God, impact people, whether it's inside for a while. When I say kingdom, I'm talking about everybody, impacting everyone. Again, my name is John Jacobs. Thank you for the wonderful, excellent introduction. I am from Washington State, working at Northeast Lakeview College, where I'm at right now in my office. And I am the Director of Student Success here. I work with students every day and people, and not just students, but lifelong learners, adult learners, to really accept and move into their destiny and find and be retooled and find what they need to get to the next level. And that's kind of a little bit what we're going to be talking about today. Another thing about me, I am currently in a doctoral program at Dallas Baptist University, go DBU, the Patriots in Dallas, Texas, and just excited to be going through the journey. It is tough, and it's been tough. I'm in the middle of quantitative methods. I'm sure Dr. Cavalier is going to be on here. One of my cohort members is going to be on here, say hello. But it's been a tough journey, but I'm making it through. And so with that being said, I'll jump into my presentation. Let's go to my first slide. My first slide is kind of giving you the topic again on today is living my best life, leveraging education for your business, organization, church, and community. All right. And you've heard that song, Living My Best Life. On that song, I don't know what it is. When it gets in your mind, it stays in your mind. But that's my hope throughout this presentation, is that this presentation gets in your mind and stays in your mind. So the goal today is not to give you a whole bunch of information. It really is to encourage everyone on here and motivate everyone to think about retooling or getting the things you need as it relates to higher education to get to the next level. When I think of higher education, or when people think about higher education, they kind of cringe a little bit, because in the last 30 years, higher education has tripled, in some areas quadruple, as relates to how much it costs to go back to school. I was looking at some statistics about the 1985. There was like this Facebook thing where you go online and you find the Ebony magazine in your year that you were born, and I was found in 1985. I'm 33, and in there I looked at what was happening that year, and then I started Googling in 1985 what was going on and what's the stats. And in 1985, a home was $40,000. And in 1985, a car was $9,000. So you can think about that as it relates to education. It has grown. It went from going to get the education you need, and the cost was relatively low. But now it is really expensive to get back there. But there's still opportunities, and there is still importance in education. We often hear this saying, education or knowledge is power. And knowledge really, really, really is power. And so today I'm encouraging you and reiterating and also illuminating some things as it relates to higher education. And I want to hear some testimonies from folks that decided to go back and go to school. And also, let me go to my next slide. My next slide shows you my Twitter and my Twitter and my Instagram. I'm gonna be taking questions throughout. I'm on Facebook Live. If you want to have questions, drop them on Facebook. If you have them on Instagram or Twitter, I will answer them a little later. I'm not a certified advisor, but I can propel you, I can guide you in the direction if you want to go back to school and kind of get you to that next place and talk to you about different kinds of institutions and opportunities for you. My next slide. My next slide is a quote from Nelson Mandela. This quote is a powerful quote. It's a really powerful quote. So if you can put it up for me, that'd be great. The quote is, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. That's your world. That's the world around you. And we have to be reminded of that, and that it's not in vain. For those who are working or still in school right now, it's not in vain, because this is going to help you impact others. Former administration, the former administration, Barack Obama, really focused on, along with the Lumina Foundation and other different higher education and education associations, about how do we increase and how do we help our citizens really grow educationally. How do we get them out of poverty? How do we get them to the next level? And that was by educating and retooling our communities. So their goal, this was the last administration, their goal was to, by, I think it was 2022, to increase the amount of adults getting 2-year degrees. And then you saw popping out of nowhere these free educations at community colleges. The state of Tennessee had a program. The state of New York had a program. Texas was working on a program. Washington State was had a program, a free education to really help educate the communities, because they knew knowledge was power, and they knew, like Nelson Mandela, that the education is a powerful weapon which we can use to change the world. And so I encourage you again that this is the time. This is the time to go back to school. 2019 is the time. Right now, spring enrollment is open right now. You can enroll into an institution today, should you want to go to the next level. So let's talk a little about some statistics about education. Can I go to can you go to the next slide? This slide talks about the earnings and unemployment rates by education attainment in 2015. This is a 2015 data point, and it shows you, for those who are a little motivated by money, and some of us, all of us in some form or fashion are motivated by money. It shows you, and folks who are on Facebook, you can't see it, but it shows you that the increase of opportunities fiscally, of income, as you move up, as you get more degrees, as you grow and academically. So if less than a high school degree, it's showing that the average person who did this study makes about $493 a month. And then it goes to $678 for people who have a high school diploma. For those who have an associate's, it's just about $798, around $800 a month that you can, this is a weekly earning, weekly earning. $800 a month for the associates, about $1,100 for a bachelor's, about $1,300 for a master's. A professional degree, those are those ones above the master's or right below the master's that that retool or resharpen you after a bachelor's degree. You get about $1,700 weekly, and then with a doctorate, it's about, what is that, $1,600 weekly. So you can see how your employment and your education attainment could impact your employment earning and your earnings weekly. So that's a motivator for those who are motivated by money to think about getting a higher education or continuing your educational career. Okay, let's go to the next slide. I thought this slide was really, really, really interesting. It talks about some possible correlations, some possible connections and relationships with as relates to your education level and your life expectancy. And I can hear my quantitative studies, my Dr. Cavlington in my ear, that it does not mean there's causation. This is talking about a possible correlation, but does not mean there's a causation. Okay. But the study does show that right here, if you have less than a high school graduate degree, for women, your life expectancy around 50 and 44. This is just for a few people who have took this study. Now, there might be some outliers. People like, oh no, I'm way past that age and I don't have this degree. Well, God bless you. Okay, but we're talking about this particular study. And then for high school graduate, 56 for women, 51 for men. For some college education, 58, 52 for men. Then for women, 62 for college graduate. If you have your bachelor's, your life expectancy could be 62 for women, 57 for men. And then for graduate degrees, probably above, about 62 for women and 60 for men. I think it's interesting. One, you can see that males, if life expectancy is less than women, and then you can see as you increase as relates to your education, men start to catch up with women. Mm-hmm. So that might be a motivator for us men to get an education, that we can really possibly expand our life expectancy if we go back and get retooled and get re-educated. So there's some things to think about as you think about education. We're talking about leveraging. We're talking about the holistic idea of education. All right. Let me go to my last slide. And we might go back to this slide later as we talk about technical degrees, associate degrees, and certificates. This particular data point talks about how a higher pay for technical associates versus bachelor's degree, which is an interesting conversation that's happening in higher ed, how they're seeing a stronger value of people going back getting their associates over a bachelor's. I grew up, we still had home ec and we still had some technical skill sets in high school. But prior to me, and probably in the early 80s, 70s, there were technical schools specifically to help students get a technical degree. And there's some value in that, right? And so this particular data point shows that the possible difference between having a bachelor's and technical degree. And I'll just focus right here in the state of Texas. $40,000 for a bachelor's degree. Mostly entry-level positions are about $40,000. And then $51,000 for if you have an associate's or technical degree. Right. And so that's something to think about as you're thinking about what type of degree am I looking for? What is my end goal? So I just wanted to go through those data points so you can think about those things. So let's go a little deeper. Again, if you have any questions, you can post them on the bottom, I think, of this chat, along with going to Twitter. If you put my Twitter the slide up at JJ4EDU or Instagram at JJ4EDU, and I can answer some questions that you have. So let's go deeper into the presentation. And I broke down 4 different areas that you can leverage higher education. The first area, the first place is in business. Now on here, there are probably a lot of thought leaders, business owners. People might be watching the rebroadcast. You're a business owner. or you're interested in starting your own business, and you're interested in going back to school to be retooled, or you know the importance of education, and it is. So you need to be thinking about, I said earlier, about the type of institution or type of degree that you want. A lot of these days, a lot of people are going back to get their certification. And there are some really popular certifications. I want to read these certifications to you that I found that are the top associate or certifications you can get at local community colleges that can really propel your business or whatever you're doing in your business, even if you're working for a nonprofit. HR, associate's degree or certification in human resources. Project management, definitely a really good a degree or certification to get. Sales, certification in sales. Certification in network or any software. That's really big, for as our society has evolved. We need more business or people in that space to understand software development. This whole Compel conference was created and developed, and behind the scenes is a software being used for as a platform for this conference. And so having that expertise as James has and his team has is important. They're tooled, have been retooled and went back to school to get these degrees to be able to do these things. And certifications are definitely one option. Another one, information security. My wife works for USAA, and I've heard her talk often about the growth of the information security area, looking at fraud and compliance and all those different areas. Those are definitely some spaces that you should think about as you are going or thinking at different degrees as a business owner. Also, as a business owner, you need to be thinking about going back to school because, there's a lot of acronyms and different things you need to know as a business owner, how to write technical writing, along with writing grants, and we'll talk about that a little later, along with writing business reports and data analysis. And so that takes some education, understanding how to write. And I'm learning that as a graduate student, writing and academically, and that's a different transition for me because I came from technical writing. And so you have to consider, how can you go back to school, go back to a place to get retooled to be a better business owner and businesswoman, businessman. That's really, really important. And I'll just say this before I go on: it is a competitive market. When you go out there and you start your business, there are going to be 4 or 5 people out there that's working just as hard as you are. So my next question is, what sets you aside? What can set you aside is having a solid education and solid background understanding of the business world. When I was in the music business, I understood the music business at that time. But that has changed since the last 10, 15 years. You got to have a Facebook. You got to have a Instagram, 2 million likes and people following you to even be looked at and be signed. They don't sign people any longer, to do your own thing. And so businesses and things have evolved and changed, and you have to be educated to understand that and given the best practices to be successful. So I encourage you, businessman, businesswoman, go back and get retooled. And those different areas or different certifications are some great places to kind of consider. The next area is organization. So, I'm a part of many associations. I love working with nonprofits. It's important to consider education in working in nonprofits and working in organizations. Because of what I just mentioned earlier about considering writing grants. My master's took a grant writing class, and it was beneficial because when I was at Austin Community College, I helped write a grant for first-time college students, and it was really helpful to have that background and that understanding of the language and what they're needing, understanding budgets, how to write a budget and organize a budget, right? Understanding what grant writers are looking for, right? And then writing your purpose and your analysis, providing data, all that stuff is really, really important when you're talking about working for an organization or establishing an organization. that knowledge is really, 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 really big. Again, I really hone on that data analysis. That is really big when you work with businesses and organizations. They want to know, how do we know that you are meeting your goals? How do we know? What data do you have? What can you provide us to show us that you understand that you're meeting your goals, right? And so being able to know how to do that is really, really important. So if you're a business owner, organization, part of organization, you should be writing this down, because these are the words they're going to be saying to you in advance. They're going to be saying this. So before you even get into a boardroom or present your project, your report, you need to be looking at data. You need to be looking at different knowledge and different words and buzzwords and hot topics, and looking at aspiring organizations to compare and see what other people are doing, and that information will help you be successful. So these are all things you're going to learn when you go back and be retooled, whether it's a certification, a bachelor's, or what have you. All right, this is the benefits. Okay, I'm just giving you the benefits to motivate you and to encourage you to go back. The next area is, and I'm going to save church. I'm going to save church. I'm going to go and skip over that and come back to that. We're going to go to community. And folks, let me know, my folks in Compel Summit, let me know about my time. I want to make sure I'm a good steward of time. Community. When I thought of community, I thought about our recent election. I thought about the recent primaries. I thought specifically about on both sides of the aisle, both Democrat and Republican. This is the first year that I remember with so many diverse folks that were running, and there were candidates. And then I started thinking about the educational level of these folks. For instance, when I think about Stacey Abrams in Georgia, this woman is laced with degrees. She has a bachelor's. Let's look her up. Let's see. I have her here over here. Where is she at? She's here. Stacey Abrams. She has a bachelor's of arts in political science. And you can hear when she talks, she's very articulate. From Spelman College, she has a master's in public affairs from University of Texas here in Austin. And then she has a law degree. From Yale. Okay. And so, you can see how that has benefited her, right? And where she is now, right? And so, again, knowledge is power. When I think about Mr. Andrew Gillum, yes, from FAMU. He got his bachelor's in, political science from FAMU. Even Beto, he got his degree from Columbia University. And so when you think about community, those successful in the community are folks who know how to leverage their education, got retooled. You can tell how that helps other. And you think about their platforms. All of them had an educational platform. And you can't, they have an educational platform because they've experienced higher ed. They understand the power, both personally as a lived experience and with their family as well. And so education helps to really push our communities. I started earlier about how Barack Obama's campaign really focused on education. Both Michelle Obama was focused on education for our children, and had these wellness programs and how to eat right in school. And so these things really help propel our community, right? Education really, really is power. I think about also the president, and I've been reading up a lot on him. I think it's Saunders, President Saunders from Paul Quinn University in Dallas, Texas. This institution was pretty much done for. And he became the president, and he really pushed this institution to the next level. It's now what we call a workers' college. And everyone at the college and the university works on campus or works off campus, and that's how they're paying for their education. Their degrees is under $10,000. So if you're in the Dallas area, something to consider, under $10,000, and people, they are looking at debt as relates to making sure their students that leave, they have a lower, their debt is very low, and they're able to really go back and impact our community. And I think about those things. And so another great thing about that institution, they turned their football field into a giant community garden. And this is what education does, right? They the football team they could not really sustain the football teams, but instead of like exiting the whole area of the property, they used that property as leverage and having that public to public and public to private partnerships with people in the community. And that's what education does. It makes you think outside the box and be strategic and really think about how can we impact others, right? And so education is really, really powerful. When I look into different rooms, I want to know who knows their stuff. When I go into places, I want to know who knows their stuff, who knows what they're talking about, who knows who's the right person to speak to because they can give me the right answers. And so education can really impact our community. So for those who are looking for roles, government roles, or interested or inspired by the primaries or interested in being a part of your community politically, having an educational degree will help you, will suit you, and will be helpful as you move forward. Lastly on that, as you look at different jobs, you notice that lots of jobs have changed. Some job descriptions say, required, they used to say required high school diploma or required bachelor's. That's changed now. It's required master's, it's required the 16 years experience at X, Y, and Z. And so some of these really professional jobs, they're looking for college educated or some form of fashion folks. So be thinking about that and be looking at that as you're thinking about your goals, your next level. If you're trying to be an administrator, a CEO, or a high profile, whatever, you need to be looking at different job descriptions, looking at what degrees and what experiences these folks have so that you can really start and build a plan of how to get there, right? This is what I'm doing was a process, and I didn't start out like this. I kind of had to grow into this. And so everyone can say the same. It was, a day by day thing. It was, making the right decisions early as it relates to your career and your educational goals. So be thinking about that and looking at, again, job descriptions and opportunities so you can create a plan of where you're going. And things have changed. People move around more than they've done in the past. And so be thinking about just your goals and your career goals. That's whole other conversation. So we talked about business. We talked about community, we talked about organization, and lastly, let's talk about the church. Woo! Now, y'all know I am churched, and if you don't know, now you know I am churched. I am from the good old Church of God Our Christ, and I grew up with this saying that church mothers would say, well-intended, and there was a lot of other implications with this. They used to say, get your learning, but don't lose your burning. Anybody remember that? Get your learning, but don't lose your burning. And they're right. You have to balance. But there was always this. People said that, but they didn't give you opportunity or the leeway or the space to go back to school, or you had to be at church every day. You couldn't go and study abroad. You couldn't go and do a work study or intern because you were at church, right? And so, a lot of the religious and traditional concepts sometimes and can go against the new contemporary way of how to move forward in your career and your educational experience. And so I encourage you to be thinking about that, thinking about, how you can leverage, you can be a part of the new regime, where God is taking the church. And I believe that God is taking the kingdom of God into a place where that scripture, the wealth of the righteous are laid in the hand of the wicked, that we really go after that, right? We really do go to the enemy's camp and really take back what the devil stole from us. But we use education, we use our knowledge, our understanding to do that. That is a tool. I believe that's a spiritual weapon. Hello? Is a spiritual weapon. Knowledge, wisdom. Come on, Solomon. Come here, Solomon. Solomon, he asked the right question. He was a wise man. He was a wise man. He asked for wisdom. He didn't ask for money. He asked for wisdom. And so it's important for us that we ask the Lord for wisdom, because money and so let's be wise. So let's be wise. Let's be wise in God. And so the church can really leverage education. Really, there's opportunities for public and private partnerships. I see a lot of churches in the past that have partnerships to create. They, in the past, was kind of like, they had daycares or after school programs, but they're churches now that have partnered with, corporations. Some churches have partnered with Starbucks. They've partnered with Toys for Tots. There's partners with community folks like Salvation Army. I heard of another church like T.D. Jakes. His church has partnered with so many corporate folks to really help and propel their church into different spaces. But that is definitely a leverage. Higher education helps you leverage and be strategic. Higher ed, again, helps you in regards to leadership in your church. There are a lot more educated folks coming to church these days, and it is important to have leaders and people who can really speak to them and really provide the language that they need to be successful. Again, being strategic planning for the church, having a 4, 5, 10, 3 to 5 year plan is important in being back to understand how to retool and be strategic. That comes through higher education training, leveraging and establishing resources, like I said, like public and private partnership or public partnerships can be established. And so there's ways to do that. I went to a professional development on fundraising. I was really, really awesome looking at really different practices of how to raise money. There's a term out there is called friend raise, not fundraise, friend raise. It's a better concept of how to really build relationships, and relationships are first. You as they say, my dad would say, you have to have their heart before you ask for their hand, right? And so friend raise is really big focus on how to establish the relationship before making that request. So fundraising, and not just having chicken dinners and all that, and all that's good. Don't get me wrong, all that's good. However, there's so many opportunities of how we can expand that. And having that understanding and have that higher education, that experience can help you. Going to professional developments like I went to, like fundraising, is really big. The Texas Higher Education Corner Board, the Texas grants. And a lot of grant bodies provide a lot of professional developments for nonprofits in the community. The state of Texas has a lot of they have an educational area that provides nonprofits webinars along with in-person professional developments. So looking for those things. So education can also be in a form of professional development, not really getting a degree, but getting some kind of completion of a training is really good as well. So look out for those opportunities, and those look really great on resumes as well. So my time is coming to close, I think. If not, I'm gonna come to a close. I'm open for questions. I'm really open for questions. I want to hear from you all. I'm on Facebook. I'm on here. I think they're going to pop up the questions in front of me, but I want to hear from you. What questions do you have about higher education, leveraging education? I want to go back to school. I don't know what next steps are. Talk to me. I want to know what's going on and how I can be of help, because that's what I'm here for. If you're just joining us, welcome to the Compel Conference. We're focusing and talking on leveraging education for your business, for your organization, for your community, and for your church. All right. I think I have one. Can you answer the phone? No, I can't answer the phone. But you can put your questions right here and I can answer the questions. Can you put my slide up with the Facebook and the Twitter and Instagram, please? because I want to get the information again, please follow me on Twitter or Instagram, and you can get some more information, or you can ask me questions. So, do we have any questions yet? No, not yet. Because I have some other stuff I want to talk about too, but I want to stop and answer any questions. Is there any questions? I'll give you a moment. Any questions? Any questions? This is your chance. Ask your kids. Ask somebody. They got questions. I'm going to give you about 2 more minutes, or no, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. And we're going to go to the next thing in regards to education. All right. I don't see anything from the Compel conference. I don't see anything from Facebook Live. I have no indicator from yes, I will. All right. So as we kind of move on as relates to higher education, I want to talk about a little more as relates to how the process of getting into an institution of higher learning. There's always an interesting conversation when I talk to families and friends about the process. You know, in the state of Texas, we have a application process. Is it the Texas application in regards to higher education? You complete that, and you, of course, indicate what institution you want to go to, and it comes to us. There's a host of processes that happen at the institution in which you are trying to enroll in. And it's best that you contact the institution and get the list of things that you need to do prior to coming on campus. There can be several different things. Meningitis checks has got to be taken care of. There are Title IX things that you process that you have to do. Of course, you have to the application process, financial aid. It's going to be really big that you have to complete along with that. There's any transcripts you have to send over as well. We have to confirm that. There's so many things that we have to do. And so having that all stuff lined up, also proof of residency is going to be important. Sometimes we ask for a copy of your phone bill, whatever bill is in your name or what have you. So we have to prove that. Folks who have a veteran benefits, that's a full process too as well. Community colleges are a great place to go. Folks who have that GI Bill or have those benefits, you can do that there. But there's a whole the process. That process takes a while, about 3 weeks to a month, if I really kind of can look at it. And so if you're interested in enrolling this spring, you need to be starting now or yesterday. But if you're looking into 2019, there's a few things you need to gather. I would begin by completing your financial aid for 18-19. Which is up now. You can apply using, they're now changed. You can use the last 2 years. So you can use your 16, 17, 18 taxes to do your financial aid. So that's something to think about as you're completing that. So you can complete that first. And let me park there real quick about loans, folks. Take out what you need, not what you want, okay? What you need, not what you want, okay? If you decide to do that, there are so many grants and scholarships out there. I think Ronnie Washington talked about that yesterday about scholarships and opportunities. I went to a session on financial aid and on scholarships. There is more money left on the table than being granted. There's more money left on the table than people receiving them. And so we have to consider, and it's funny because people are afraid to write. They're afraid to write. They're afraid to write a 200, 250 word essay to get $500, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. And so listen, I can help you. Someone can help you. Your local community college, 4-year institution, have writing centers. Someone can help you. Sit down, write the 250 words and submit it, because there's so many opportunities out there. People just choosing not to apply for it. Should you not be qualified because they say something, one or two things that you're not qualified for scholarship, apply anyway. apply anyway. What happens is there are so few people who apply for scholarships and opportunities like that they have to just choose someone. And so many times they just choose the person that had the best essay who may or may not have qualified for the position. You're the great one. Yeah, thank you. And so something to think about as you are applying for different scholarships. So my time is up. My time is up. And so I want to wrap up with this. Can I go to my last slide? I want to wrap up with this point as relates to higher education. It's important for us to consider our next space, our next level. And I really, really believe in 2019 that higher education is going to be a tool to get you there. I really believe that the kingdom of God is really suffering because of the lack of knowledge. It's suffering for the lack of experience, lack of knowledge, lack of retooling. I think our world is suffering for the lack of knowledge and lack of retooling. And so today, I hope I motivate you and encourage you to consider different opportunities. Considered if you had something in the back of your mind, I'm too old or I'm too young or I'm too this, I'm too that, to go back to school, that this inspired you to really go back and consider the opportunity. Give it a chance. Give it a chance. Yes, it's going to be hard. There's going to be some challenges, some roadblocks. I'm a witness of it. But it's going to be a benefit in. See, this thing is not a race. It's a journey. It's a marathon. It's not a race. And it doesn't matter who got there first, as long as you get there to the end, right? As they say, the race is not given to the swift nor the strong, but he that endureth. You got to endure. And this whole thing about education is about grit and endurance. And so if you have the endurance, have the grit to do it, I think you'll make it. And so, again, I encourage you to continue. I want to read something on here. Someone posted this on Facebook. This is Miss Leslie. She said, you can go back to school to become a nurse for free. This is what she said. If you're within the income guidelines, the programs is Capital Idea, hosted through Austin Community College, Travis County, and Hayes County. I know that program. Thank you. That's a great program. So for folks who are trying to be a nurse in Austin or in the Texas area, because then they're in Houston as well, Capital Idea is paying for you to go back to school. Thank you for putting that there. Here's another thing from my friend Dennis. What's going on, man? He said higher education reps needs to stop by churches and faith communities. I wish churches had college counselors or a college center for youth and young adults. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. We need that. I think one Sunday, Dennis, I brought in advisors to church. I was speaking about education. I brought in actually some advisors. I brought Ronnie too, and brought some advisors to help them to do on-the-spot advising. We need that. We need that. So we need that. So I encourage you, those who are church leaders, thought leaders, consider that in your church. Consider bringing higher education folks, advisors, administrators, academic folks, faculty, adjunct faculty folks into your churches, into your organizations to help you. That's another option as well. Anything else? Anything else from folks? Any questions from the Compel Conference from Facebook? Any questions? No? All right. So let me pray, and then I'm going to let you go. Father, we thank you for this time. God, we thank you for this opportunity of speaking at the Compel Conference. Thank you for everyone else on this Facebook, everyone's on the Compel Conference. I just pray that they were inspired by the words, inspired by you, inspired by something that was said to encourage them to go to the next level. God, you are an awesome God, and you inspire you want us to be excellent in everything that we do. You want us to be the head, not the tail, above, not beneath. You want us to be lenders and not borrowers, God. You want us to be prosperous, God, even as our soul prospers. And so, God, I ask you that this session inspires anyone out there to really take it to the next level. In 2019, this is their year, God, and I want to hear someone blessed, and I want to hear the reports of God's people that are blessed. And I thank you, God, for this opportunity. And we thank you for this conference. Thank you for everyone that's a part of this. Thank you for the Compel leaders, God, and for all the speakers coming after me. I hope that it blesses other people as well. We thank you. We praise you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. Thank you, Compel Conference. I'm out. I think there's some commercials coming. But if you want to follow me, Twitter, JJ4EDU, or on Instagram at JJ4EDU. All right. I think that's it. Is that all? Let me see my Compel folks. Is that it? No?
Purchase the highly anticipated The Ultimate Guide to Marketing, Media, and Technology for your growing ministry. An interactive workbook and planning guide. James Jacobs provides takeaways that can be easily understood at the beginner, intermediate, and advanced levels. It is our prayer that the information in this guide, when implemented in your ministry, will draw more souls to Christ and keep them connected to the body. Book available for purchase at www.yourlifemedia.com. Authors, have you been writing and haven't been able to get anything completed? Let Your Life Media and Marketing help you quickly but effectively edit, format, design, and publish your book, manual, ebook, journal, how-to, workbook, or any other writing material. Don't allow another year to go by and your work not be developed and published professionally. Let Your Life Media and Marketing do the work for you. To get started today, call 512-757-5417 or visit yourlifemedia.com. Get anything completed?
Hi, we are Church Pro Media. We know the demand for excellence in audio, video, and lighting in the church has increased significantly over the last several years. We understand the feeling to keep up can be overwhelming for you. Our mission is to help meet the needs of advanced technology in the church while still fulfilling an overall vision. We are committed to your vision. We have a team of consultants, engineers, and technicians with over 10 years of experience serving in ministry and working on high-end systems. We not only understand technology, but we also understand ministry. Visit our website at www.churchpromedia.org, where you can shop online, schedule a free on-site consultation, and connect with us via social media to keep up with the latest in technology. We look forward to serving the community with you.
Thank you for participating in Your Life Media and Marketing's first digital summit. 2019 is the year to push into incredible areas unseen, and we will provide you with growth tools, resources, and innovative ideas, along with a few inspiring motivational moments. This online summit is geared towards faith-based thought leaders, creatives, innovators, freelancers, and anyone looking to be put in a position of influence. So let's get ready to grow and compel into 2019.